What's good? You're listening to Daniel and Gian talk Game of Thrones. I'm Gian.
And I'm Daniel.
And today we're going to review episode 5. What's the title of that?
Fuck, I don't know.
Fuck,
Eastwatch.
I don't know. I like fuck, I don't know better. Anyways, episode 5, Eastwatch. I'm going to say this was like the least action-packed, but most set-up episode of the season so far. Agree or disagree?
I agree. It's definitely a filler episode, but they did it to the best of their ability. In which you're checking in with everybody. There's literally no story right now that hasn't been focused on, in my opinion.
Right. It brought back the great Gendry.
Yeah. I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
I still don't see what his importance is, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess it's like reliving the whole, Robert and Ned Stark kind of connection in a way.
Kind of, because that's where the hammer comes in. That was his dad's weapon of choice. I personally see it as he's the best weapons blacksmith. You know what I mean? He's going to be able to forge the weapons to fight the White. In my opinion, I think so.
That actually makes sense. I didn't think about that aspect. So now that they got the dragon glass, he's going to be able to put it into use for the armies of the North,
Exactly.
or the armies of Westeros in general.
And maybe that Jorah's alive. Maybe they can maybe the glass isn't going to work. I personally feel like that it's not going to work. I think that they're putting so much emphasis on it that it's just going to fail. Whatever that might mean, whether that means the White Walkers take the fucking the Dragonstone or whatever, but I personally feel like the reason why Jorah got cured, that they made that big of a deal, it's not because he can go fight beyond the wall, but I personally feel like somehow, some way, Valyria is going to come back into this story. And whether that means the only way you can defeat White Walkers is Valyrian steel, and that's where Gendry comes in, because he might be one of the few people in the world who actually knows how to craft Valyrian steel. I don't think we saw him do that in the show, but I just wanted to assume that, like, wasn't he the protege of, like, the guy who actually reforged Ned Stark's sword into two swords?
To be honest with you, I can't remember that far back. Like the only thing I remember him was being Robert Baratheon's bastard, and kind of confirmed to Ned that Cersei's children weren't Robert's kids. Because every bastard he'd come across had black hair, except for all the kids are blind from the Lannister. So no, maybe I'm not sure. I mean, let me ask you a question. Do we know if Jorah's sword is made of Valyrian steel?
Well,
because I know that the sword that the bear gave Jon Snow is made of Valyrian steel. I'm just wondering if Jorah was able to grab a sword himself. And I know the sword that Samwell Tarly has is forged from Valyrian steel as well.
Yeah, Sam has
the one thing that's interesting about Valyrian steel is, like, they just talk about how, like, rare and awesome it is, but they don't really give any other explanation other than that.
Well, it's rare and awesome because Valyria blew up. Valyria was like a volcano and it blew up. It's basically like what's the one in Italy? Pompeii? It was basically like Pompeii.
Like Mount Vesuvius, yeah.
Okay, or whatever that. But that whole thing, like, that's what it was. It just got obliterated by a huge volcano. Like, that's where they send people with the dragon scale now. And then but Tyrion and Jorah go through that, and then they say that Valyrian steel is still in Valyria. Like, all that stuff is still there, but so are all the people with dragon scale and shit. So it's like there's a lot of mythos about people going out to Valyria to, like, go do something, and then they never return. It's almost like the Bermuda
Because they
Triangle.
get grayscale.
Right.
Yeah.
So
now I remember. I'm starting to vaguely remember now, because the only episode we even see Valyria is when
Tyrion.
Jorah's taking Tyrion to Daenerys.
Right, exactly. But I just feel like maybe it's a possibility. But to answer your question, so Jon's weapon right now should be Jorah's, but he got excommunicated from his own family.
Right.
He has the Mormont family sword right now. So I don't think Jorah has any sort of Valyrian steel. Sam obviously has the Tarly house's Valyrian steel. And Jaime has Valyrian steel right now. He has Tommen's. Well, actually, it was what's his name?
Joffrey.
Joffrey's sword, and now it's his. And obviously,
so does
Brienne has Valyrian steel.
Brienne has one. Yeah.
Arya has Valyrian steel. That dagger, I believe, is Valyrian steel. I think it's a Valyrian dagger. Let's see who else. I kind of think that's it. I think that's all that's accounted for, to be honest with you, because I know like, fucking the Hound and that group, none of them have Valyrian steel. It's interesting to see that he's gonna turn that fucking the sword on fire, though. I wonder if that's gonna have any effect.
Well, they did in the first episode. Well, the first time that Jon comes across a White Walker or a white, they used fire to kill him. Like, you needed to burn the bodies. The Wildlings also said that as well. Like, if you die, they burn the body so it doesn't come back.
Right.
So fire is definitely an important weapon against the White Walkers.
Yeah, but to circle back, that's my theory as to why Gendry came back. I feel like that makes sense. He's going to be a blacksmith in some way.
How pissed off are you going to be if he dies the next episode?
Yeah, exactly. Or not. Or he'll just die and that's it. I don't know. Like, is his hammer... Because there's other Valyrian weapons in the world of Westeros. Like, there are hammers and things like that. They're just even more uncommon. So I don't know. Maybe his hammer is Valyrian hammer. I don't fucking know. We'll find out. My thing, though, is... just to keep it somewhat, the only story we didn't catch up on. Well, obviously we don't know if Grey Worm's dead or not, because like that we never picked up on that. We know that he's at Casterly Rock, but he could have gotten killed but we don't know what Euron's up to.
Right. Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. And then when we get the revelation from Cersei that she's pregnant, like, for me, that pretty much ends any. Is that going to cause Euron to turn on Cersei eventually? Since now he has nothing to gain from helping them,
Exactly, and it's because obviously,
I mean, it's just a big
Cersei's
conflict because he can't go and help Daenerys either.
It's an interesting. This whole setup is very interesting because this whole episode happened really quick, and a lot of things fucking changed. A lot of people met up that never met up before, and a lot of stories converged right now. And it no more so than this episode, I feel like, has it felt like the home stretch is like finally here.
Right. Honestly, last night's episode made me kind of sad because I was like, oh shit.
It's coming to an end.
Yeah, it's coming to an end soon. I'm still expecting these. I mean, I know you said on our last episode that the next 2 episodes are supposed to be
the longest.
Fuck, it just doesn't feel like they're long enough, man. They're definitely rushing, and I feel like it's kind of, and I'm not the only one that feels this way, but the rushing is definitely taking away from some of the drama.
For sure.
Because you're just not getting enough time to like really feel the weight of things. I mean, even, I know as part of the scene, like Sam was just so caught up in his feelings that he didn't even pick up what Gilly told him about Jon Snow's parents.
Yeah,
he didn't even hear it.
That's probably the biggest revelation I feel like the show has made at this point, in my honest opinion. I feel like that little offhanded comment, and the only reason why it's significant to me is because I watch so many fucking YouTube videos and read about like things from the books and other theories like that, whatever. Otherwise, these are very subtle plants that they've been doing since the beginning. Every time they talk about Rhaegar, they talk about Lyanna Stark. It's very subtle. Like it's always a scene that doesn't seem to be important, but if you were to go rewatch it all, it's all going to be there. And so for those who missed it, the reveal was that Jon, well, maybe potentially, they didn't fully reveal it, but that Jon actually might not be a bastard at all, and he may just be a full-fledged Targaryen.
Right. Now we know he's completely legitimate, and it's in the records.
Assuming that the other part she didn't read was confirming that Rhaegon married Lyanna.
Right. I'm thinking that's what it was.
I think we all do, but I'm just saying, like, it's not 100% confirmed, but it fucking might as well be at that point. But it makes you think, okay. I mean, it kind of confirms it in the episode when you see Dany's dragon like approach John and basically kneel down and allow John to pet him.
Well, the dragon sniffed him, and I think like the scent. We don't know how complex these dragons like smelling thing is, but the scent seemed familiar to him. You know what I mean? Like they're related. That's what I picked up from that, and that's why he let him pet. Or so the dragon senses evil and doesn't think that John's evil.
It could be that. But I mean, there's that shot of the eye. Like I feel like they really emphasize that like the dragon was thinking at that moment. The dragon knew.
Right.
Like I just feel like I don't know what that means. I don't know if at one point.
Well, it was like the dragon's like there's something familiar about this guy.
Yeah, and that could be problems for Dany, because maybe what happens if he stops obeying her and sides with John or something like that, because they obviously don't know that they're related.
Right.
But it makes you think about something else too, which I just thought about. Tyrion was the other person who was allowed to touch the dragon.
I don't remember that.
In the earlier episode, they not in this season, but in the previous, I think it was season 5 or something, where HBO tried to hype it up like the dragon's gonna eat Tyrion, and because Tyrion's like underground where the other dragons are all tied up, and there's a moment where I'm pretty sure the dragon lets Tyrion touch it.
Was it Drogon though, or is it one of the other ones?
It had to be one of the other two. I'm not sure which one, because that
was that was the time where Drogon was gone.
Exactly. So it had to have been the other two, because they were chained up downstairs underneath the fucking temple or whatever. But it just makes you wonder, like Tyrion's obviously a big part of this story, I don't know what that means.
But let's go back to the beginning of the episode. How did you feel knowing that Jaime and Bronn not only did not drown, but they did not get captured? Did that bother you? Because I know last week you.
I thought it was way too convenient. 100%. I think it was a pure like. It just made no sense to me. They're gonna have this huge battlefield. Not only like physics would say the motherfucker would have drowned. Period. Jaime had so much fucking armor on that the pure weight of that would have held him down. He only has one arm too. Like that's the like. I mean, I'm not like talking shit. It is what it is.
Well, at the beginning, Bronn pulls him out of the water.
But even still, man, you're gonna tell me he pulled him out and he swam all that way underwater while holding your breath? I mean, sure, it's life or death, so you probably have to. But like, let's be realistic here, man. It was just too convenient. Like that, no one saw them. They both escaped undetected. They both got to King's Landing as if it's no big deal. I mean, maybe Tyrion was the only one who knew Jaime was on the battlefield, and maybe that's why it wasn't a big thing, because you never see. Well, that's not true, because Dany fucking saw Jaime try to kill her.
Right, but Dany has no idea what Jaime looks like. Dany's never met Jaime before.
That's true. That's true. Can't deny that. That's 100% true.
And it could also be one of those deals where let's not bother capturing them so that they get back to let Cersei know what happened. You know?
That's another thing, because that's actually something that Dany's father did. I'm pretty sure it was that Targaryen. One of the Targaryens did that, where it was like, let's burn this fucking shit down, but we'll leave a little bit alive so you can spread the word that if you don't bend the knee for us, you're fucked.
Yeah, very Genghis Khan like.
Exactly.
I like that beginning scene though. I thought it was Bronn definitely solidified who Bronn is. When he tells Jaime, like, you don't. I think Bronn's in danger.
Yeah. Do you think he's?
I don't know, man. I think Bronn's just that guy that's always going to figure out a way to stay alive. And I think that's what that scene is kind of cemented. Was like he tells Jaime, "You don't get to die unless I kill you, until I get paid. It's like you either pay me or I kill you, but nobody else is killing you."
Well, the reason why I ask is because Cersei announced
she did make that comment. Are you going to punish Bronn for betraying you or whatever?
Yeah, but she knew that Bronn was set up the meeting with Tyrion some fucking how. I don't know how, but somehow she knew that Tyrion was in King's Landing and allowed it to happen.
Well, at this point, she's probably got the little birds network. No, I know exactly how she knew. Remember last season, I think they call him Kygar,
Qyburn, yeah, he took over the network of fucking little kids.
Yeah, Qyburn's got all those little kids running around underground. So because of that, Qyburn's the one that knows everything that's going on at King's Landing.
So you don't think his life's in danger in any way?
I don't think so. I think that was just Cersei like letting Jaime know that, you can't sneak anything past her now. Like she's onto it. And I mean, it kind of also answers the question, is like Jaime going to turn on Cersei? I don't think so now that she's pregnant. Like he may have thought about it.
That pregnancy thing definitely like threw a huge wrench in everything that I personally thought was coming.
At the same time, I'm wondering the relevancy of that pregnancy. Like, what's the point of it? Like, how is that going to play in the future with the rest of the story? I don't see the same relevance to it in the overall grand scheme of things.
Well, no,
other
because
than
she's not going to rule on the throne anymore. So, like, her time is done. I think they all fucking acknowledge that. Like, I think in Cersei's mind, she thinks she can just kill Dany, like, somehow in, like, these private meetings, somehow poison her, have the Mountain kill her, somehow, some way. And maybe that's how you get the Mountain versus the Hound. Maybe that's this allegiance. Maybe they do fight together for a little bit or something, But I don't know. The point is, though, I feel like Cersei feels like she can win, but I mean, everyone else, like, I don't see how she could ever come out of this ahead. Genuinely.
Right. There's also people theorizing that Cersei's faking the pregnancy to make sure, because now she knows that she's questioning Jaime's loyalty. So there might be a possibility that she's not really pregnant and she's just doing that to keep Jaime in line.
True. That's true. Or she's
That just tells me that Jaime's gonna die soon. I feel like his days are numbered, but moving on. Okay, so after that, I mean, I feel like this episode, they gave us a little bit of the beginning, kind of like a continuation of episode 4, but this one was definitely like 75% about going up north and getting a White Walker.
Like, R.I.P. to the Tarly family, except for Sam.
Yeah, no shit. How did that, like, I mean, what kind of an idiot is fucking Dickon? I mean, I don't know,
to be honest with you, because there was no way he was not going to die there.
His dad didn't want him to do it. His dad wanted him to keep his mouth shut,
They all knew. They all allowed it too.
Yeah.
Like, even Dany was like, all right, you might be the son, but just fucking bend the knee and you're cool.
Yeah, they gave him every opportunity. He didn't want it. And his dad was just like, what the fuck, man? Okay, whatever. I don't know. Like, I mean, I know they've mentioned before that he was an idiot. I don't know if the point of him like going with his dad was to like confirm that,
right?
Or is his dying, is that like going to elevate Sam's story even more?
Well, that's what I was thinking, that you're gonna have Sam. Sam is now it's his house. It's his house now, 100%. Whether or not he's a bitch or anyone wants to follow him or not, but he's now inherited everything to the Tarly name because there's no other person, right?
Right.
I mean, his wife, like his dad's wife, his mom is alive still, right? I think so, but like, she has no claim. She's not a male. I don't know. Maybe that's why it happened. Maybe they both died because it was convenient. So now he can rally up the Tarly clan or something. I don't fucking know. I just feel like a lot of things, like you were saying, were rushed. Like I didn't particularly like how Sam just left, and he just for weeks, all of these books that he saw were all chained and like locked into the library, and then all of a sudden, when he decides I'm gonna leave now, he can take all these books with no chains.
Well, that's not the first time he stole a book, though.
But
that's how he figured out how to cure.
To steal. That's what bothered me the most.
See, that's interesting, but at the same time, he's been filing away so much shit that maybe he's like realized the system.
It's a stretch, though.
Or he's just grabbing every book. I mean, it looked like he was grabbing every book he could at the same time. He was looking at the names of the authors, like. Homeboy, the headmaster told him before he cured Jorah that somebody came up with a cure. So he knew the name of the maester that came up with the cure.
Yeah, so it's true. Sam's a fucking genius too. Like, he may be a fat fuck, and a coward. He's not really a coward anymore, but he was. But,
Right. And the very first time we meet him, he like straight up says like his dad wanted him to go hunting and shit, and all he cared about was books.
Right. So he's clearly a fucking genius. So like, maybe you're right. Maybe I'll take that. It's nothing that really bothered me, but out of an episode that I thought was pretty good for the most part, it's the little things that fucking pop out. Like in some weird way, I like how continue to go up north, how the Onion Knight they went from Dragonstone to King's Landing and back within the same episode.
I don't think Dragonstone's far from King's Landing.
Regardless, though, but just think about the history of Game of Thrones. The fact that they were able to make that journey, regardless, within the same episode is.
I mean, actually, if anything, you should talk more like how far is Highgarden from King's Landing, because Jaime got back pretty fucking fast.
This is true.
There's a lot of that going on,
And what sucks is I don't know the time frame.
I mean, and they've never really told you the time frame either. You just gotta kind of go with the flow. I don't think they've ever told you throughout the entire 7 seasons of the show, like, oh shit, I just got here. Other than when Robert Baratheon went to Winterfell in episode 1.
And then you also have to realize too that it has been at least a few years though, because at least Sam acknowledged that in this episode. Because when the Raven sent word that Bran basically saw the Night's King and everything, Sam says something along the lines like, I put him through the wall a few years ago or whatever. So at least they acknowledge that some time has passed.
Right.
So you know something. But no, right. I agree with you.
And I mean, he went through the wall 2 seasons ago too, so that's okay. Like I feel like we were there for that. You know, it wasn't like an episode before and then boom, next episode. It's been 3 years. I mean, and if we really want to talk about the passage of time, Gendry looks old as fuck.
Dude, Gendry, I don't even like. I feel like it's obviously the same actor, but I was like, who the fuck is like? Yeah, for sure, I agree with you. He's beefcake, like he's fucking juiced as opposed to before.
Which I think they want. They needed that a little bit. He's been eating, he's been training.
They threw a nice little joke. Still rowing. I thought you were still out there rowing.
Right. Well, that answered all our questions.
It did. It's. I mean, Game of
Thrones.
But
at the same time, it made me wonder why did Davos go and look for him though?
I don't know.
That was kind of weird itself. Like why? Like,
well, they didn't explain it. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm assuming it's because of his blacksmith, but I don't know how he would know that he was still there. I mean, they kind of allude to it because he basically said hiding in plain sight is the best way. So, like, maybe he just assumed that he went back. But I don't know. It's weird, but you kind of just have to accept it. It's just like the Hound coming back. Like, you just kind of accept it. It is what it fucking is, And now all these people are coming together like the fucking Avengers, and they're about to kick some ass. Or all die.
Now, let's jump to Winterfell. What did you think about that whole little sequence? Fucking with Littlefinger setting up Arya.
Well, I mean, it kind of got what I wanted because I said Littlefinger needs to do at least one more fucking big scheme, otherwise his character's a waste. And this was vintage Littlefinger right here. The little letter that he planted, that Arya read, was actually the letter that Sansa wrote to Robb Stark, basically saying, everything's okay, just come home, like everything's fine, like no big deal. Like this, she was setting a trap. I think she was
right.
I forgot who forced her to do that.
Well, she was forced to write the letter.
Right, exactly. But Arya doesn't know that.
Right.
Or maybe she does. That's the fucking thing. You don't know about Arya and what she like, because she knows a lot. She's seen a lot. She's skeptical. She's super skeptical of everything, even of her own sister. The fact that she was like, why didn't you cut their heads off, just shows you where her head's at. And so it made me personally think, well, so I proposed these questions. Okay. First of all, we already know, like, we don't know, like, what Littlefinger's ultimately up to. Okay, so that's a given. But do you think Arya is going to kill Littlefinger? Or maybe that Littlefinger will kill Arya?
I don't know. That's the weird thing.
Or the biggest question,
I think, I watched the end of the episode and the showrunner said the point of that scene was that Littlefinger didn't like how close and comfortable Arya and Sansa were getting, and that he wanted to like wedge a divide between them.
which
Because
could backfire. It could backfire
it
at this
could.
point.
It could.
But it could also.
We also have to remember that Arya's still like, I think she's technically only 14 or 15 years old. So, no matter how much shit she knows, she still, has dumb teenager tendencies.
Same thing could be said with Sansa too. So I 100%
Exactly.
agree. And that's what my ultimate question. Here's the big one. Do you think Arya would kill Sansa?
That's tough. I mean, it really depends on. I mean, I think she would. When they had their little discussion about what to do with the Bannermen who were talking shit about Jon, and Arya said, you should cut their heads off, and that'll like let everybody know to watch their mouths and to respect or whatever. It shows where she's at right now. She's kind of bloodthirsty. She's not afraid to cut someone.
And she's always liked Jon.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's been glossed over because Jon never mentions it, but Sansa's always been a bitch to Jon. She's never been cool with Jon. Arya and Bran were always the ones that were like super close with Jon. And then you have, Rob and him were kind of like homies. I feel like they didn't have the brotherly bond per se, but they were like, they had the homie bond.
They were cool. They were family. They looked at each other as family, but not necessarily brothers, but family.
Right. But Arya,
Sansa's like
Arya
her
and
mom,
Bran
that's
like
why.
adored Jon. Sansa's is totally like the. Well, she's like. I mean, Arya mentions it that you were always into nice things that made you like because you felt like you were better than everybody else.
And yeah, that's why I think maybe Arya might do something and she might regret it. But I'm just saying like I don't think she's ever gonna put herself in a situation or her family in a situation in which Ned put himself into. Because I truly believe seeing her own father get decapitated in the way that it happened, basically unnecessarily by a mad king, quote unquote. I don't think that she would ever let Jon be put in a situation like that.
Right.
I'm not saying she sees her. Maybe she does see her dad in Jon, but I don't know. I'm just saying I don't see. But it could. It's just weird, interesting thing where it's like if that happens, it's just going to add another layer of fucking obstacles and drama to the overall story when everyone should be focusing on one fucking common goal.
Right, and we only have 8 episodes left.
Exactly.
So I'm getting a bit worried because it's like there's so much shit going on. How are you going to unwrap all these things in the final 8 episodes? And did they shoot season 8 with season 7?
No.
So they're gonna have to go back and shoot that as well.
Yeah, it's probably gonna come out in another year and a half too. It probably won't come out
damn it,
in a year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very upset having to wait another fucking 2 years for the last episode. That's gonna suck.
I had a quick prediction of how the whole fucking. I think Jon Snow's gonna die again, and I think the bittersweet ending is Dany might be the one to kill Jon.
I don't know where you came up with that, but
just because if you really think about it, Jon at this point in time, assuming everything's factual in terms of him being an actual Targaryen, that would put him as an illegitimate ruler of the North.
But there's no way to. The problem is there's no way to prove it.
There is if you bring that book.
You bring that book. It says that they're married. It doesn't mean that there's no proof of his birth.
Well, here's
that
how
we know of.
Here's
anyways.
how Mira Reed can come back into it because we were talking about like why the fuck did she leave all this shit? Well, her dad is Howland Reed. Her dad was there the day that Ned Stark went over there and basically.
I think her dad is dead though.
I don't think Howland's dead.
I think he's dead.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if he's dead. I'm gonna Google it. I don't think he is. I think he's one of the only people still alive.
We have not seen him in any episode other than the flashback, though.
That doesn't mean he's not dead. According to this, he is not dead. According to the Game of Thrones wiki page. Now that's in the books. He's not dead, and they haven't mentioned that he's dead in the. I'm just saying. Mira did leave to go home, and I'm pretty sure Howland is not dead. And if he's not dead, He's one of the two people who Ned's dead now, but he's one of the two people who knew about Lyanna's fucking baby. They were
That's
at the
true.
Tower of Joy.
That's true, but I just find it interesting that he hasn't had any, like, all of these conflicts in the North, and he hasn't involved himself whatsoever.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying.
It's just kind of, it's just like a real, like, he's super out there. So I don't know. All right, let's shoot over to where are the Maesters at? What's that called? The Citadel.
Town? Oh,
the Citadel. I think that's what it's called. How are you feeling about Sam's arc right now?
Well, I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier. I don't know where he's going right now. I'm assuming he's going back to Winterfell to help out Jon.
He's going north. No, he's definitely going north. I think he's been there for a while now, and he's realizing that these Maesters are all just a bunch of like skeptical old dudes who don't believe anything unless they see it. And he's seen everything, and they still don't believe him. So he's like, fuck it. He's just taking matters into his own hands because, like he did with the grayscale, he gets shit done, and he knows that these guys are just going to sit on their hands until it's too late.
And he's killed one. Let's not forget
He's killed one.
a White Walker.
He's killed a White Walker. He has Valyrian steel, but what I'm saying is he knows the threat is real because he's lived it. He killed a White Walker. He saw it. Yeah.
People think like, oh, you might even if they believe that he saw one, they're not going to believe that he killed one. Not Sam, not Fat
right.
Fuck, But I'm support. I just want to see more of Sam. So at the end of the day, whatever the fuck he's gonna do, whatever, like, as long as he doesn't get put into some stupid fucking situation, like I don't want him to be held up, like get captured and Cersei has him or some fucking stupid shit like that. Like that's what I don't want to see, just because that would be added drama. Like if I'm just not saying that would happen, but like why would Cersei want Samwell Tarly? Like there has to be something. I don't know. Maybe they know that he's the last of their house. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I'm just saying you never know what's going to go on. And is he going to be the one to break the news to Jon somehow? Like on this travel are they going to bring it up again? Like how is he going to talk to Bran? Like who's going to be the one to break the news to Jon about this whole fucking Rhaegon thing? And I keep bringing it back because I feel like that's the most important element.
I mean, eventually it's going to come out and be known.
It has to be.
And it might also get swept under the rug. Like they might tell him, but he'll be like, well, nobody should know this. Because he doesn't want to be king. He doesn't want to, that's not what he wants to do. Right now he's just trying to save the world because that's what people like Jon Snow do.
Well, it's weird how he hasn't admitted that that he fucking died yet. So I wonder.
Well, just think about it. Like you're trying to get this girl to believe that White Walkers exist. And then on top of that, you're going to tell her that you died and came back to life.
I understand it, but I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting dynamic, which is why I still kind of feel like Dany might like it's that bittersweet thing. Because if you think about it, Dany's wanting nothing else but to fucking have the Iron Throne and to rule Westeros, and to have it be fucking stolen from her at the very last minute by someone who, for all intents and purposes, right now has the biggest stake, and it's his throne. He can't be king in the North because he's not from the North. That's the whole point. That's what I was trying to say.
He is from the North.
Huh?
He is from the North.
He's not. He's a Targaryen. It doesn't. You supersede that.
His mom is a Stark, so therefore the people of the North will fucking respect that because he's a Stark.
Which will better help unite the North. But I'm just saying though,
he's a combination of both. He
has a claim to the actual throne as opposed to just being a king of the North.
Right, but if he's the king of the North and he has a claim to the actual throne, that's going to have the North support him even more.
The only problem is he's a Targaryen.
No, shit happens, We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think we're jumping, we're speculating a little too much here. But is there anything else in the episode that jumped out to you other than Bran bringing another plot device?
Huh? What was
Bran's just a fucking plot device at this point. Like Bran's importance for me just keeps getting.
He's a plot. I think he will. I predict that he will actually fight with Jon. Maybe not next week, but maybe the week after. He'll fight with Jon. I believe that. I do feel like he's going to have a bigger aspect as opposed to just fucking becoming a Raven or whatever. I feel like he's going to put himself into something else and actually do something. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's taking over the Hound. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, I can see that happening. He did it with Hordor, but at the same time, he did it with Hordor and he broke the motherfucker. So, like,
right.
You have to wonder, like, how the fuck there's a lot of unexplored shit in this universe and there's not a lot of time. That's what's fucked up. There's so many unexplored, interesting ideas that I feel like if George R.R. Martin would have gotten off his fat fucking lazy ass and written the whole fucking series instead of jerking off all the time, I feel like this series would have been 10 times better. Because you and I cannot disagree. Like, we might disagree on a lot of things, but we can both agree that the first few seasons, the first 3 seasons actually, were the best, I think. Period. Just because of how deep things were, just because of how layered things were, just because of how subtle things were and how intricate things were. There was a lot of plot.
It was balanced. It was a lot balanced. So we didn't have, like, even though there's a lot of great things from the last couple seasons, you know, we both agree that Daenerys' storyline was kind of weak and boring. So you didn't have that kind of shit going on where you're like, why am I watching this right now? This shit sucks. Get me back to the other parts of the world. You know, that's for sure. So anyways, let's wrap this up. Yeah, you wanted to introduce a segment about death predictions.
Yeah,
who's going to die in episode 6?
Shit. So personally, I don't think the Hound's gonna die. I still think he's gonna fight the Mountain. I still think that's gonna be a thing.
I don't think any major character is gonna die next week. It's gonna be one of the brothers, the band of brothers, whatever they're called. One of those guys is gonna die. Either Beric Dandarian or the guy with the top knot that the Hound was roasting.
I think he'll die. I think definitely. I don't think one-eyed motherfucker's gonna die, but I think the other dude will die. Well, which one's the priest?
The guy with the top knot.
Maybe he won't die then.
I think he might die because that'll force Melisandre back into the picture to resurrect people.
So, well, I mean, if in terms of that core group, I think what's his name, Giantsbane will die. I don't think he's gonna make it out of the season, to be honest with you. I still, like I said, John. I don't think John's going anywhere. He can't die. I think that'd be really dumb if he died at this point. Because it was dumb when he died when he did. So, fuck. I don't know. I think that's it. I don't think Jamie's going anywhere. I think we'll probably check on Grey Worm personally.
I think next episode's going to be all in the north. We're not going to see any of the other people. That's my prediction for the episode.
It is our battle episode, so
yeah. So I think we're gonna stay north of the wall for quite a bit of time, and I think that whatever the priest's name, he's gonna die. So that's what I'm going with. Anyways, you got any last thoughts?
No, nothing really. I mean, other than everything that's been released trailer wise and everything has been shown. So now the next 2 episodes, literally no one knows, unless obviously you looked into the leaks, which I haven't, and I won't. But I'm just saying, like, all of the teasers, everything that's been shown on a trailer has been seen now at this point. A lot of, like, the missing things happened in this last episode, like things that are like, oh, when's this gonna happen? So there's pretty much nothing left. So whatever we're gonna see is based on whatever we're gonna see. Like, we have no idea now. We're at a point where no one knows. So I'm interested. The weird thing is next week could be a season finale, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited. Can't wait for next Sunday to come around. So, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching Pictures on YouTube and listening to us on SoundCloud. We will see you. We'll have another podcast, a full podcast dropping soon. And you guys know the drill. Hit that bell, hit that like button, leave some comments, and engage us. We love having discussions about Game of Thrones, and would love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you guys next week.